Hey y'all, it's the Hormone Hurricane here, and today I want to talk about hormone optimization, why it's important, and why you should absolutely seek it out if possible. Now, to begin with, the first thing I ask people when they call into our practice and they're curious about what we do and they're seeking treatment is, how old are you? That's important, and that's simply because everybody begins at the age of 30 losing 2 to 3% of their hormone production every single year. So stop for a second and think about that. That's when we start to kind of go into decline. And unfortunately, doctors just don't seem to take that into consideration when it comes to treating somebody a little later in life. They have what the leading authority in hormone replacement therapy here in the United States says is confirmation bias. Very true. It's just the way that they're trained. So you lose these hormones, okay, and your energy starts to go downhill. Ladies, our sex drive usually goes in the bucket pretty quickly. Men are going to take a little longer because of the amount of testosterone that they produce. Our short-term memory is impacted. Our ability to focus is impacted. Our risks actually go up as well, by the way, for various cancers and other age-related diseases. Keep that in mind, age-related. Why is it age-related? If you understand hormones and how each of them work and impact us and protect us, then you would understand. But basically, you're struggling with a loss of muscle mass. A lot of people who work out consistently and have for years and live healthy lifestyles will tell me, I don't get the results that I used to get from my workouts. It takes me longer to recover, and often it's hard for me to even get through my workout. So again, that's building and maintaining lean muscle mass, helping to keep that body fat down, so controlling the weight. Our sleep is impacted as well. It's not just your energy through the day, it is how you are sleeping at night. And so, of course, as ladies, by the way, we're also impacted with our moods. Men, yes, because testosterone actually makes you feel like you can take on the world. But, they're not quite as impacted as ladies are, regarding the moods that we go through. Now, when you go to the lab, and you give them your date of birth, what it is doing is it is spitting out the results for 1 million men or women in your age group. So I'm 53, and if I go get blood drawn, they're going to spit out the results from 1 million other 53-year-old women and apply that to me as my normal range. So flawed automatically, because who goes to the doctor but people who don't feel well? On top of that, you've got a lot of other things to take into consideration, like, genetics and medical conditions and medications that they're taking that could skew those results. And it's just not a good practice to rely on that and look your patient in the face and go, well, look, you're normal. There's nothing wrong with you. Went through that for years, by the way, and had doctors consistently wanting to shove antidepressants down my throat and anti-anxiety meds and sleeping pills and diet pills and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, guess what? Most of those block your hormones. They're actually not helping you. I've actually had patients tell me that doctors have given them antidepressants, mostly women, saying, oh, it's going to balance your hormones. Where did that come from? I'm not going to go down that road right now. Okay, so you start to lose that the hormone production. You're impacted in multiple ways across the boards, and then unfortunately you're hitting a brick wall when you're trying to get treatment because the doctors are afraid. The powers that be in this medical industry that we have in the United States have actually given hormones a negative reputation. When I say hormones, by the way, I am referring to what we call the bioidentical hormones, and I want to explain that real quickly. Bioidentical hormones is a term that was developed to market the type of treatment that we offer, okay? So what we consider to be bioidentical were actually the original hormones. They were around much longer. The synthetics came later. I don't understand why. Well, I kind of do understand. It's profit oriented. Why doctors are trained to automatically go to those synthetics and not go to the original ones. These are the same as what our body produces. Our body recognizes it as our own. it doesn't come, or they don't come with the risk that the synthetics do. So we'll save all that for another day. Now, for ladies, we definitely need estradiol later in life. If you did call our practice or any other practice, if you are still having a cycle, you're not ready for estradiol. Your body doesn't actually need it at that point in time. And the true definition of menopause is going to be 1 year without any cycle at all. So if you're at that point, then yes, that's something that we would give to you. The estradiol is super important in so many ways. So it helps across the board. It's, obviously hot flashes, night sweats, everybody's familiar with that, but it keeps our bones strong. It prevents breast cancer. It actually doesn't cause it, okay? Progesterone, by the way, will prevent breast cancer and uterine cancer as well. And just to let you know, there are cases, or I should say cancers, that are fed by estrogen. Some are fed by progesterone, and some, even more rare, are fed by both. That is not the same as causing the cancers, just to be clear, okay? But let's go back to the estradiol part of things. So I didn't say a minute ago, and need to be clear, estradiol is the component of estrogen that we need later in life as ladies. So we're beyond childbearing years. We don't need the other parts. Let's just focus on the estradiol, which happens to be, to me, one of the most beneficial components of estrogen, because it stops plaque from building up in our blood vessels. That's huge. I mean, when you think about the amount of coronary artery disease and cardiovascular disease and the heart attacks, the strokes that are happening later in life, and men make estrogen too, so yes, it is impacting you. By the way, most erectile dysfunction is caused by plaque that builds up in the blood vessels that supply the penis. So if we kept everybody's estrogen levels adequate, or at least estradiol adequate beyond that age of 30, we would see a lot less of these issues that are related to that plaque buildup. But we don't want to see that in medicine, because we can't profit on that. I mean, we make a lot of money on stent placements, and things that have to do with the plaque buildup. Erectile dysfunction, tons of money spent on those medications that are doing nothing but temporarily dilating the blood vessels and let the blood get past that plaque. So the estradiol, I'm going to finish up with that real quick. It can impact our moods as females. But progesterone is more important regarding a lady's moods. It also is, as I said, going to prevent breast cancer and uterine cancer. But this is what helps us sleep. So real quick, I had a hysterectomy on my 27th birthday. I will never forget the first time I took progesterone. I actually slept through the night. So like my eyes closed, it was dark outside. And when I woke up the next morning, it was daylight. That was the first time that I had actually slept through an entire night in 13 years. And that was golden. So, testosterone, let's talk about that. So men and women obviously need testosterone. It's going to prevent colon cancer in both men and women. It's going to prevent prostate cancer in men. It does not cause or feed prostate cancer, by the way. It also does not cause heart attacks and strokes. The study that was done it was, around 2014-15 when you started seeing the ads on TV with all the attorneys trying to get you some free money if you had a heart attack or stroke and you were taking testosterone. Extremely flawed study, okay? So it was observational. I'll break it down really, really quickly here and give you the shortest, skinniest version possible. And that's that basically these doctors took a bunch of patient charts and said, oh, look, they were all taking testosterone and they had heart attacks or strokes. Gotta be that testosterone. What about their lifestyle? I mean, were they couch potatoes? Did they smoke 2 packs a day and have several cocktails a night, eating pizza on the sofa? What about their other medical conditions? What about the other medications they were taking? So literally, they just zeroed in on that testosterone. Incredibly frustrating. And if you understand at all how the FDA works, they are not kind and honest people there. You're going to understand that this is why they're putting the warning labels on the bottle. They're working hand in hand with all of those people who want that profit and don't really want people healthy. So, testosterone, it's going to help burn fat. It's going to help give you energy. It's also going to build and maintain lean muscle mass. It is it makes you feel like you can take on the world. It's absolutely fantastic. And so it does actually a lot more than that, but men and women both do need it. So let's talk about the thyroid for a minute. If you're struggling with energy in the afternoon, that's your thyroid. I made a little short reel on this not too long ago. But the same thing is true for waking up feeling really groggy and sluggish in the morning. For me, it really did feel like coming out of anesthesia. This is actually impacting every organ in your body, and it's so beneficial and important. And I always say, if I was told you only can pick one of the hormones that you're taking, I'm going to choose the thyroid, because quite honestly, I can't get through the day without it. I'm pretty pitiful. I also have IBS, and it's so funny because I went for years and tried several medications that just really didn't help. All they were basically doing was putting a Band-Aid over the situation. They actually were making things worse. But when I started taking my thyroid meds, which are a T3, T4 combo, everything changed. It's absolutely amazing, and I cannot live without it. So really, really beneficial to have your thyroid level where it needs to be for you as an individual, not dependent on what that paper says and saying, hey, sorry, we're going to limit how you feel, basically. DHEA is another hormone that we treat. Now, this comes from the adrenal glands, and it's going to prevent diabetes. And I will stop right there and say, think about all the type 2 diabetes we have in the United States that happen after the age of 30. Pretty consistent with the lab results that I see every single day. Somebody who is either diabetic or pre-diabetic, they've been told that their DHEA levels are consistently way lower than somebody with just the normal hormone loss, and I'm just going to leave you with that. This also makes sure that our immune system is up to par, and it's a long-term stress hormone. So very beneficial, again, across the board. Last is vitamin D. And listen, I'm not going to get into all the benefits of vitamin D because there are too many to name. I will tell you that I've heard one of our doctors tell the patients, look, I know you don't like to take supplements, so do me a favor. Promise me that at least you will take this vitamin D3 because it's so beneficial and it's long-term preventive. We really need it. So just at least take that one if you don't want to take the other ones. Optimization, by the way, for hormones means let's get you to a point where you are feeling good and you don't have the negative side effects. This is really, really important to approach treatment with hormones in that way, because otherwise, if you are letting that piece of paper dictate what dosages you're giving your patient, you're not listening to the patient, okay? What's happening is you're hindered in your approach. Your patients are not going to benefit in this. And this is something I wish I could explain to everyone in the medical industry that we have, but unfortunately it's just not well received. So the leading authority again in hormones calls that confirmation bias, and it's there for a reason. For now, I think that's going to be it for today. I've kind of given you a brief rundown of what each hormone does and how it's beneficial for the body. Stay tuned, subscribe, follow, like. I'm going to be discussing more about each individual hormone, what you need to look for as far as the delivery methods. Really, really important. Pellets, not good. Topical creams, not good. But we'll get into all of that at another time. For now, this is the Hormone Hurricane signing off, and now you know.